If you own a JK Jeep, you feel my frustrations right now. Especially if you live in Southeast Texas. It's 9 o'clock in the morning, it's 96 degrees, and you have to wait for the stupid air conditioner to decide it wants to work. So today, we're gonna address that situation. All right, so we're back on Allie's Jeep again for another pesty HVAC issue, which kind of plagues these JKs. It's not really a big deal necessarily, but it's just one of those things that annoys the crap out of you. If you remember from a couple of videos back, we had to replace the blending door actuator.
The dreaded JK blended door actuator.
Now that is a little bit of a testy job, so but it goes off without a hitch. It can be done with no problem. Now the issue that we're moving on to now is that blinking light, right? So what happens is we'll get into the Jeep, she'll crank it up, the light's blinking, the blower motor won't come on, the AC won't come on, it's hot. We live in Southeast Texas. Like I say, it's 9 o'clock in the morning. It was already 90 plus something degrees outside. So it's just been an issue. So we ordered one of these, which is the problem. It's just the HVAC control module, and all the blinking light is it's just a flash memory inside of this that basically remembers all of your settings when you shut the thing off. So when you go to crank it up again, it has no idea where everything is at. It has to relearn the whole process. My trusty helper. He is involved in every project I do. But anyway, it's just a flash logic memory. It just remembers all your settings. So when you crank the Jeep up, it has no idea where everything is at. It has to figure out where the doors were. It has to figure out where the blower motor was. So it just delays everything. Now, it never will turn the AC back on. So you have to physically turn the AC on every single time after it finally gets done thinking about everything. Now, I ordered this module from Morris 4x4. All right. And now let me say first off, the customer service dealing with them was great, man. We had a lot of communication back and forth. But for a real-time update, we are in late July here in Texas. I ordered this in February. It took me nearly 3 months to get it. Again, I'm not going to say a fault of Morris 4x4. I just wish companies out there, when you ordered stuff, would be more upfront to say, hey, we don't even have this part. We don't know when we're ever even going to get it, but we'll go ahead and take your money, right? But the customers are, I mean, they were up front. They told us once we placed the order, like, hey, there's been some issues trying to get these things. It may take a little while. We got it. The other issue that we had is Allie's Jeep is a 2013 Sahara. So it has the automatic climate control and the heated mirrors, okay? I ordered this by part number directly off the Mopar site. So I'm going to say I am absolutely adamant I had the correct part number. Now the problem is with these part numbers is there's a lot of other part numbers that will interchange. So the initial one that I first got showed up, it did not have the auto control, and it was not for the heated mirrors. The only difference in the modules physically is you'll notice the center button here has the numbers on it, right? So the one that showed up simply had the scale that goes from blue to red. So it would have worked, but oh, we're off to the doctor again. Allie's cat, she's severely diabetic, so she kind of makes some regular visits to the vet to get checked on for insulin adjustments. But anyway, back to the show. The only difference was that, really. It would have worked, but we wouldn't have had the heated mirrors, which is not a big deal in Southeast Texas. Our 6 days of winter really doesn't justify the heated mirrors and all that stuff like that. But she wouldn't have had the automatic climate control. It is a Sahara. We want everything to work right. I contacted Morris. I said, hey, there's an issue. The wrong module showed up. They verified the part number. The lady that I was talking to was immediately on it, and she said, you are absolutely correct. We are so sorry. please ship it back to us. The shipping is on us. As soon as they received it, I received a refund for this one. Bam, almost immediately. They got in touch with the supplier. They sent us another one. It did take about another 4 weeks to get this one. So that's been the only issue really with getting it. And again, I'm not going to fault Morris for that. I don't think it was their fault at all. I think it was just a supplier issue. But anyway, we're going to get some tools together and we're going to get this thing changed out, and we're going to be done with that blinking pesky light. Hopefully done and over with. It's a very simple install. Removing the dash out of one of these things is pretty easy. 7mm socket, an extension, a little ratchet, some trim tools to pop out the window controls, and that is it. It's really a plug and play situation here. We'll pull the old one out, unplug it, plug the new one in, and stick it all back together. Riley, come here. And there's my helper. I mean, he checks everything out in this Jeep. Every time we do a project, he makes sure everything is absolutely 100% perfect. So, couldn't ask for a better helper. Anyway, moving on to the module here again. Again, this one does have the automatic climate control, the heated mirrors. So it is a part number P55111170AI. If I remember correctly, the one that I had previously received was a 67AI, which did not have the auto controls and everything in it like that. So anyway, a 70AI has everything we need. All right, so we're gonna get the camera flipped around here and I'll show you what all's involved and going ahead and getting that thing out. Okay, so this is the module right here, right? So to access that module, we're gonna have to go ahead and pull this dash cover completely out of here. All right, we don't have to pull the radio or nothing like that, but we do have to get the covers off to be able to access this. This cover right here actually clips through this cover down here, which is the only reason you have to take the whole entire thing off. Now, Mopar did a little bit of a tricky situation here because it does look like these are two separate pieces right here. Sorry about the glare in the camera, guys. This is a low buck operation here, self-funded, and all I have is my iPhone and a GoPro. But this is actually one piece, although it does look like two separate pieces, which a lot of people make a mistake. They'll pop this out, they'll take the screw out of here, they'll take the screw out of there, and they'll start prying on this dude, and they'll end up breaking it. But in reality, it is this whole entire section right here, all right? There is a screw underneath the little compartment storage tray right here. Once you get the window controls out, there is a screw in there as well. And then we'll need to go under here. We will pop this cover out, which there are no screws in it at all. It simply just clips in there. But once we get that out, there'll be a screw up here behind it right there. And there will be another screw located over here. Once we get those two screws out, then we can simply take this whole entire panel right here and we can pop it out, all right? All of those clips are designed so that this piece comes at you. You don't have to pry up or anything like that. Once we get the screws out, we'll simply start pulling it straight out at us and it will come out, and then we will kind of lift it around the steering column and we'll blow it over here. To get the window control out, man, that's very, very easy, all right? Just get you a trim tool. You don't want to scratch this stuff up, and you literally get right underneath it and just like that. I mean, there's nothing to it, all right? The only tricky part is once you get in here behind it, is trying to get it unplugged. Just turn it around here. You have the little red clip right there. All right, we'll simply unlock the clip just like that. And then you simply push down on the tab right here and you can unplug it. Bam, there it is, just like that, all right? Like I say, once we got that unplugged, we'll get that tucked out of the way here. We'll try to get in here. There's a 7mm screw right there. Same thing up here at the top. We'll simply pull the little tray out. There is another 7mm screw. We'll pop that one out, and then we'll move on to getting the trim pieces off the bottom here. Now this one isn't too bad. I want to try again one-handed. Anyway, you just kind of grab it and pull it off, just like that. All right, let's put that out of the way. Once we get that off, there is a 7mm right there, as well as on the other side of the steering column. We will try to zoom down in there as best we can. There is another one right there. You pull those two out, then we can start getting this cover off once we have all 4 of those screws out. All right, so let's get those out right quick. All right, so with those 4 screws out, I would recommend going ahead and putting the steering column, if it's tilt, all the way in the down position. It just gives you a little bit more room in here once you start you know, trying to pop this dash panel out. So we're simply going to push the column all the way down, and then we're going to start working on trying to get this dash cover off. It should literally just start unclipping, literally that easy, just like that. All right, and we'll kind of wiggle it out of here a little bit. Just turn it, tilt it, and there you go. One dash panel. Super, super easy. All right, this panel right here is pretty much the same way. It's just gonna kind of pop out just like that. And there it is, all right? So we have some plugs back here for the mirror controls, obviously the plugs for the HVAC controls, and then we have the plug down there for the 12-volt accessory outlet. So we're gonna go ahead and get all those unplugged. Again, it's the same thing. You literally just push the tab and start unplugging everything, and then we'll get that out and we'll get the module exchanged. And all right, so there is the whole assembly. There's our module that we're going to replace. The only thing that holds it in is the 4 Phillips screws that are on each corner right there. Pop those 4 screws out, that whole module will come out. And like say, all we did was just unplug. This was the 12-volt accessory plug. It's a little tricky to get to that plug. The harness is pretty short, but it's just a push pin right here on the side of it. You push it with your thumb, unplug it. Same thing with the HVAC control. It's a push pin right here. We just pushed it down, unplugged it. The hazard lights, same way, pushed it, unplugged. And this was the mirror control. And again, we just pushed the little tab down right here with my thumb, unplugged it. All right, so now we're gonna get the 4 Phillips screws out of here, and we'll get this module off of here and see if we can't get the new one stuck on there. Now, once I have it out, I can see this is a 78H, all right? Remember, our new one is a 70AI, okay? The difference in that being is this is the OEM module that came in this Jeep in 2013, all right? There was a revision done to it, and it made it a 70AI instead of a 78H. That's the only difference. But anyway, we're gonna get the 4 screws out of it, just like so, and then we will pop the new module on. And all right, so there are the 4 screws. We got them popped out, and we're simply going to take the module out. There is the old one. All right, grab our new module right over here, and we will simply reinstall it in reverse order. Put our 4 screws back in, and we can start putting this dude back together. So we got our 4 screws in, we simply tighten them back up. And so voila, one new HVAC control module installed. That's literally all that holds that in there is those 4 screws. All right, so now we got that reassembled, so we're just gonna simply move on to getting the module control and all that stuff put back up there. We'll get everything plugged back in, and we'll pop it back on, and then we'll move back on to getting our dash trim and everything put back on. So we got everything plugged back in. We literally just line up the tabs and give it a good shove, just like that. Really, that's why I say there's really nothing to it. It's super, super simple to get the dash out of these things. So now let's move on. We'll go ahead and get the dash cover put back in place. which is just kind of fish it around the column here, get it back over there, and we'll get it all lined back up. Just get it kind of roughly lined back up where it's supposed to be, and simply just give it a good shove. Make sure we get all the tabs back in there, just like that. All right, there it is. All right, so we'll get our four screws put back in, the one here, the one up here on the top, and then the one on each side of the steering column here, and then we can plug our mirror control harness back in, and we can pop our switch panel back in. So let's get those screws put back in. Alright, once we get that one put in, then we'll just simply pop our little storage tray right back in there. Boom, just like that. Alright, so we'll just get the last one stuck in there and we can plug the module back in. See if I can dig around in here with one hand. Find that thing. And let's get it plugged back in right quick. I don't know if I'm going to be able to do this one-handed or not, guys, but I'm going to try. Yep, just like that. Don't forget to lock your tab back. Boom, just like that. And then boom, just like that. So there it is. The only thing that's literally left is just popping the lower trim panel on. All right, so let's just crank it up and see what happens. So the one thing I noticed right off the get-go before I ever even cranked it, as soon as I turned the key on, the blower motor started blowing, and you notice that the air conditioning light came right back on. That was pretty awesome. So anyways, that's all there is to it. Most of the time, I'm not going to tell you all the time, but most of the time, if you have a blinking defroster light, I seem to do this all the time, defroster, it's probably the HVAC control module. We ordered this from Moore's 4x4. It was $189. But that is pretty awesome. Now, I have heard scenarios before, okay? If you have to replace this module, when you initially plug it in and you turn the key on and you crank the vehicle up, it may not come on immediately because it's going to have to go through its learning process again. Remember, it was a flash memory system in here. So all it is once everything is set, like where you have your blower motor, your vent controls, whether you have the AC on or not like that, it's going to learn all of that. And then when you shut it back off, it's going to remember that. So the problem we were having is it would not remember the settings. Therefore, when we would crank it up, it would have to go through the learning process all over again. So let's just shut it off. We'll take the key out. Everything turned back off. All right, now let's crank it back up. Now, before the problem was we would shut it off when we would go to crank it back up, nothing would work again. Key is on. Blower motor is already on. Air conditioning light has already came on. Right back in function just the way it's supposed to be. Now, just to test everything out, let's go ahead and put it in auto. The blower motor is steadily ramping up to full speed. I have it set on 66 degrees and it is currently 97 degrees outside. And as well as I'm sorry if that sound is blowing directly into the phone. That is my mistake. I'm going to turn our vent controls on auto as well. Now you'll notice that the AC light went back out. It's strictly because it's in auto control on the vents. So it's trying to decide whether it wants it on defroster or middle. The air conditioning is still on even though the light went out. If I take it back out of auto, the light's going to come back on. There you go. 2013 JK HVAC control module, pesky blinking light, problem solved. It is a Jeep, so stay tuned. I'm sure there will be something else broke pretty soon, but nevertheless, we love our Jeeps. So until next time, guys, we will see you guys later. We have plenty of more stuff coming up, whether it be your motorhome stuff that you're interested in, the Jeep stuff. We do have a new project in the driveway. I'll do a little short video on that pretty soon. We're going to be branching off in a total different direction from the Jeeps to do a little bit of stuff on that. And just a lot of general trips coming up down the road. So nevertheless, guys, we will see y'all very soon, because don't forget, we still have a long way to go. And if you wouldn't mind, it is strictly up to you, only if you want to. Would you please hit that subscribe button if you haven't already subscribed? If you are subscribed, thank you so much. And if you haven't, it's strictly up to you. But it does help us try to figure out that pesky algorithm called YouTube. We will see you guys later.